something's going to happen. The most important thing
Something's
is
going to happen, all right.
I'm going to sports ball.
You're going.
I'm going to go see the bunnies. No, I'm not seeing the bunnies, unfortunately.
What animal is playing against what other animal?
A Canberra Raider who turned into Vikings.
Yeah,
right.
Fighting a tiger.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty decent matchup. I'd watch a Viking fight a tiger.
Yeah, it's very Colosseum-like.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, 1,000 years apart, sure, but
sure. No, they'll be right on the field together.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They call it a
Wouldn't
field.
be much of a game if they weren't there at the same time.
They do play football on the field, don't they? Yeah.
Welcome to multiple sportsgasm.
On the football pitch.
I think there has been a game when only one team played.
Okay.
I remember my father
Who
told me,
won?
I don't know if it was bullshit or I was quite young, so I may be misremembering, but evidently there was a year in the football where they were meant to strike the grand final, but one team still turned up, kicked the ball, scored a try, and went, we win.
Hang on, how's that
Okay.
work?
I don't know if that's true.
So you're saying not only was there no team, there were no spectators or adjudicators or anything there as well?
Yeah, but one team just rocked up,
They
kicked
were
the
like,
ball.
fuck this
Let's do
tie
it.
on it. We're going to do it and get
Did
it on
they
a
get
technicality.
shamed the way Drew Barrymore got shamed when she
standing over the picket
stepped
line.
over the picket line?
I don't know, because as I said, it could be a bullshit story. I've never looked into it.
What? Welcome to Multiple Nerdgasm. That's the
that's
theme
right,
of our
yeah.
show.
Welcome to Multiple Nerdgasm with your hosts, Matt, Luke, and Dan. Multiple Nerdgasm, your guide to all things nerdy.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of other stuff that we haven't looked into to talk about this week. There's a long list this week. I'm excited.
It is certainly a long list, yeah. And a lot of follow-up. I think we should at least go through the follow-up.
Okay, all right.
And then a long list of dead celebrities that we can discuss in the after party.
Oh my God. What is going
Wow.
on?
There's a lot of people who died this week.
If you want to know what the after party is, let's just do a little thing early. Go to patreon.com/multiple nerdgasm. Support the show for as little as $1 a month, and you get no ads ever, or any, and you get a few bonus things. No ads ever, promise.
Except for this ad.
And you get the show a day early. Oh yeah, you still have to hear us, but this will be quick.
Yeah.
Not an ad, this is a pitch.
That's right. And then for $5 a month, you get the after party, which is once we finish doing this, we actually just keep talking. We don't finish. We just keep going. Yeah. And then you get an extra 20 minutes, half an hour after that. So, and that's where all the dead people are.
Yes.
Yeah, and usually where we put Nazi news, and there is some Nazi news this week.
Prepare your drinks.
Imagine that.
All right. So where do you want to start with the follow-up?
I think you might have watched some more Mission Impossible movies.
How many do you think I watched? Can you guess?
Oh, wow.
How many did you
I mean, there
made
are
it through?
several.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd love to think that you've now watched them all. But last week, you told me you'd watched half of one. So I assume you've watched to the end of that and maybe halfway through number 2?
I've watched 3.5 Mission Impossible movies this week.
Yeah.
See, I'd like to think that you went back and started watching the original television show.
Oh,
That would be good. That would
I've
be good.
never even seen that, I must admit.
I don't remember. I know that I watched it when I was a
Yeah.
kid.
That's what I know I've seen it
don't remember
because...
anything.
I mean, maybe I did at my grandparents' house.
Yeah. It's that
I don't have
late
nostalgia
afternoon
for it like
replay.
I do for some of the other kind of
I'll
old
tell you,
TV shows.
I
from
have
that era.
nostalgia for one of these movies, and it's blinded me for quite a while.
Number 2, and you thought it was good, but it isn't?
Oh boy, is it not good. So,
Yeah, I know, man.
I finished the first one, loved it. It's a fucking great movie. Great action.
Fantastic
Some
movie.
kind of goofy and some bad special effects in its spots, but holds up really well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
felt.
mid-90s movie.
Number 2, I saw, that came out in what, 2000?
Yeah, it would have been around there.
Thereabouts. And it's got fucking Limp Bizkit on the soundtrack. Hans Zimmer did the score. And it's directed by John Woo.
Oh boy, is it directed by John Woo.
It's fucking, man. I know why I liked it when I was 20. But now I watched it and I was like, this is rough.
Because not only were we 20, but it was also the year 2000, where
Yes.
late 90s, early 2000s cool didn't really transcend.
Do we know, was this even a Mission Impossible screenplay? Because I get the sense
suspect
that it
not,
was
yeah.
not.
Because I suspect they decided to greenlight
different.
it.
It's so different.
Like, for so many years, because I've not seen any of them, but for so many years you have said I should watch the second one because it's good.
It's not good, Luke. I was wrong.
I mean, if you want to see some gratuitous shots of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, you should definitely watch it.
It's beautiful. And look, it's not that bad. It's just that I had this memory of it, and as soon as it started, like even just the music and the shots and stuff like that, I was like, man, I've seen this quite a lot. And then as it went on, I was like, oh, it's been a while though, because I don't remember that being as shit. But
I don't remember so many bad Australian accents.
And that whole sequence with them riding the bikes at the end and stuff, I was just like, oh,
well, God. The funny thing is, when you mentioned the new one last week, and you said that there's a scene where he jumps over a chasm on a bike and then jumps off the bike to kick a guy, the thing that I immediately thought of is that's more adjacent to number 2, where two people fly at each other on bikes and then jump off the bikes and kick.
That's fucking insane. Like I said, somehow I blanked those specific bits. And then just the fact that, I don't know why my 20-year-old brain was like, no, that's fine. Like, why are those guys on the bikes anyway? Like, he breaks into Cockatoo Island because it's a storage facility where they're keeping the virus.
Yeah, I went there 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they got the virus there. And then he comes out, and then for some reason, on a little tiny, like, it's a very tiny island. It's the size of a house.
Yeah, you could chuck a rock across it.
Yeah, there's, like, security guards on fucking high-speed motorbikes. Which then he knocks one guy off, rides off on the motorbike, and then for some reason they don't really explain how the main bad guy's on the other bike.
Just
for some
on
reason.
Another bike.
Like, why is he on that? It's just whatever.
And that's to say nothing of the slow motion doves.
So much slow motion in it. So much slow motion. Where I was just like, oh, this is actually quite boring. This bit, and so many the whipping the mask off.
Yes.
Fucking left, right, and center. And
I'm fucking glad you said that, because if listeners go back, there's an early episode within the first 100 of this podcast
finding them,
where you, Matthew Ham, and a former member tell me that I'm the stupid one for misremembering the first one for being the one having all the masks, and I was like, no, I'm pretty sure the gratuitous mask off is the second one.
No, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know why I have fucking rose-colored.
I'll tell you
memories.
I'll tell you why. Right, 2 words.
It's got Limp Bizkit.
Ben Stiller.
that too. Yeah, that was good.
That was better than the movie. The fake behind the scenes on the DVD.
I 100% fucking loved this movie when it came out. But it's so era specific that I look at it now and I just cringe. Like, yeah. So the other thing with the mask thing, the mask effect holds up remarkably well. I feel
really?
When they like it's quite good. I mean, it's a bit silly in the first one when they had the masks on. You could tell it was Tom Cruise in a mask, and it was like,
yes, because it was a mask.
It looked pretty good, but you could tell it was a thing. In this, it's just like literally just the other actor does the bits, and then they get CGI the mask off. But the effect itself holds up, except for like one shot that looks fucking insane, where. And because this whole thing makes no sense. Because Ethan breaks into Cockatoo Island just with nothing but his leather jacket and his gun. Mm-hmm. But then,
and his long hair. His collar-length hair.
Yeah. And his sunglasses that have his Oakleys with the fucking heads-up display.
I wanted those so bad.
Yeah, we all did. But then the main bodyguard, the South African guy, I forget the actor's name. He tricks them by popping a mask on himself to look like that guy and a mask on that guy to make it look like Tom Cruise. So he tricks him, and then the bad guy shoots him. Where the fuck did he get those from?
Yeah, like especially since in the third one they actually go into a lot of detail about people are going to be wondering how we make these fucking masks.
and it totally fucks up the second movie in that sense.
Yeah, because you look at the person, you take like a scan, and then this 3D
quite
printing.
An involved process.
Yeah.
No, he just pulls them out of his jacket.
I mean, you'd probably get a Tom Cruise mask from somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah. I was just like, hang on a minute. That doesn't make any sense. And then the bit that I was talking about is when Tom Cruise is running out and he's still got the guy's mask on. There's a shot of him running up this hallway. And just before he pulls the mask off, so it's a CGI. They've comped over his head with the other guy's head. And it looks like fucking Terrence and Phillip.
Yeah.
Just that one shot, the lighting is just flat. And him running up the hallway like it's literally a still shot of this guy's head. And I was like, how the fuck did that get left in?
The best special effects advice ever given to me was by Doug. You know Doug, who hangs out at the studio with Craig and Brian and those guys? Doug, who doesn't wear shoes, right?
Sure.
He told me that the second you know there's been a special effect, you'll be looking for how you did it, right? So the special effect should be the before bits, not the after bits. In other words, if you need to shoot an arrow through someone's head, right? Don't paint an arrow into the after shots. Put an arrow on the actor and paint it out in the before shots.
So shoot the actor in the head.
So that by the time the effect has happened, it stopped happening.
So there's nothing to see.
Correct.
Yeah, that's cool. That's quite clever. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've never heard any like Hollywood special effects person say that, and just watching movies, I know they don't all subscribe to that.
Yeah.
But this was just a dude who did special effects for Tropfest movies who was like, no, I always do the fancy bit at the bit before you notice, not the bit that you're looking at
That's
after.
quite clever.
I do want to go back to one thing you just said earlier, though. You said the Oakleys with the heads-up display you wanted, but I wasn't allowed to get Google Glass.
I didn't want him with a head-up display. I just wanted a pair of fucking cool-looking Oakleys.
Oh, okay then. Okay.
Yeah. I think they were about $300. And they were the flimsiest looking things. And these are in the pile of things that I've since looked at eBay to see whether like I can just satisfy my younger self by owning them later in life.
And they're just Tom Cruise mask.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I assume once I put the Oakleys on, I look exactly like Tom Cruise, Matt. So that's what I thought when I was 19. So I don't see what's changed now.
You would look more like him than I would because you've got hair. So.
I still have a little bit.
Well, you look a little bit like Tom Cruise.
It's just a tad, yeah. Yeah, so 2 doesn't hold up as well as I thought it did. Actually, it was pretty rough, and I'm not sure I'd actually ever watch it again. Anthony Hopkins is in it, though.
You're almost convincing me that I want to see it again.
No, do, because I just wanted your opinion on it. Because I don't know if you, like I said, I don't know if you had this fucking messed up memory of it. That, like I said, I'm watching it and I'm going, this is not how I remember it.
No, and it's because I loved the first one so much that when the second one came out, instead of going, oh, wow, this is like 90s cool, I was like, this is not the same.
Face Off had happened and all these great John Woo movies, and I was like, this is going to, and fucking, like I said, these metal bands,
it's pretty close
on
to
the soundtrack. I was like, this is going to be the best movie. Yeah, well, maybe I shouldn't. Yeah. So
Face Off made no sense at the time either.
Mission Impossible 3 holds up.
They should have made my sequel that I wrote about the blind prostitute, Dick Off. There's only one witness, a blind prostitute, and there's only one way she can identify him.
Mission Impossible 3, I think, holds up. You know, good performances. Got Philip Seymour
Hoffman. That's when Simon
in it.
Pegg came into it.
Oh,
that's right.
Philip Seymour Hoffman was fucking terrifying in that movie.
Yeah, he's
what
cold.
What a great
fucking
villain.
Cold.
Yeah.
That movie, that whole film, the opening. Like I said, it's been ages since I watched this. The opening is when they fucking shoot his wife. It's the opening.
That's right.
Is where he's like, I'm going to count to 10, and he fucking shoots her in the leg.
Oh shit! Yeah.
That's the opening
and then it goes
scene.
back in time.
And I was like, oh my god, that's intense.
Yeah, and it goes back in time to like a dinner party they're having.
Like Tom Cruise is like, he's crying. He's like, please, you have to do the right thing. Don't do this. And then he's just, it's like, and it's like, dun, 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 dun,
yeah,
dun. It's like, fuck, all right.
That was good. That's when they got JJ. They brought out the big guns.
Yes.
That's when that 1 year where everything was directed by JJ Abrams.
Yeah. No, this is a good one. The only thing I noticed that, I mean, it obviously, assume it was a creative choice, is that like the fucking shallow depth of field.
Oh,
and
yeah, that was how they did it then too, though.
Yeah.
That was that 1 year where everything was shot like that on.
And
like,
I'm like, why is
really
everything else
long
blurry?
lenses.
Yeah, but whatever. That was way more in line with the first one, tone wise and everything.
Yeah.
Like more intense. Like it got serious.
Yeah,
but
that was a very
story-wise.
good one. Yeah,
yeah. And then I watched 4, which is Ghost Protocol, which is also very good. And I'd forgotten.
The one
directed by Brad Bird.
Forgotten that. Okay. Yeah. Is Ghost Protocol the one where he's like disavowed by the agency and
it's the one where the agency, they get involved in this mission in the Kremlin, and they get like tricked, I guess, in a way, and then the whole was it IMF, Impossible Mission Force, gets shut down, and then he has to go rogue to stop this.
They keep in that.
This guy who's got the nuke codes and stuff. It's the one where he's on the outside of the Burj Khalifa.
Yes, right.
That's when he first started, I think, doing some
stunts,
legit serious stunts.
Is it the one that opens when he's busting some dude out of a prison? Or is that the one after?
Yeah,
no, that's that one. Yeah, I remember liking that one too. Does that hold up?
Yeah. It's very good.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't realize Brad Bird did that one. I thought Christopher McQuarrie had done that one. But no,
he takes over at a certain point.
Yeah, the one that I'll watch tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah. Mm.
But yeah, so anyway, good. Holds up. Simon Pegg's very good in them, actually. Which, I don't know why I'm saying that like it's a surprise. I love Simon Pegg. It's just, but it's weird to me that he's doing that.
Where does Alec Baldwin pop in?
Does he pop in?
Yeah, okay. He is. He's in the next one.
Oh, he must be.
I think Alec Baldwin is also in the one with...
Which one did a crew member
TV
get shot in the
enthusiast.
head? Could it be that one?
Oh my God, I think... I'll just watch it and then we'll discuss. I might try to watch it as well. I think there's a double cross where he just shoots someone. Yeah.
Oh, God.
I think there is.
Foreshadowing.
We've got some Baldwin news this week, actually, but it's not Alec Baldwin news.
Yes,
and there might be some... Yeah, there's some Billy Baldwin news.
What's Billy up to?
Well, it's not what he's up
I've
to
heard
now.
that Billy in a very long time.
It's what he was up to in the
Biodome.
90s. Wow, this may be before Biodome. Do you remember a little movie called Slither?
Mm-hmm.
Which was, man, I remember when this was out because the trailer was just basically Sharon Stone without any clothes on. And it was basically, the trailer was, if you thought she revealed a lot in Basic Instinct, you should see this movie. We don't allow her to wear anything.
I was going to ask, was Slither Paul Verhoeven or no?
Maybe.
Or is it just because Basic Instinct
Because it was straight after Basic Instinct.
And they're basically like, yeah, exactly. I just mush those movies together in my head. Which
I
one's...
was very
Well, you were
confused.
meant to. They certainly hoped you would.
Yeah, okay.
Very confused. I thought we were talking about a different Slither.
No, we're not talking about James Gunn.
Oh,
Yeah.
not Slither, Sliver.
Yes.
Sliver.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
I might have said the wrong consonant
both
in the
did.
middle.
And now I can't find the real movie.
But what's the news?
Well, the news is that Sharon Stone has... look, it's quite sad, actually, because she was this kind of sex symbol of the 80s and 90s. And she's come out now and basically said, I was abused and exploited. And everyone's like, oh, well, that's not very nice.
Yeah, she said,
You know,
Paul
even
Verhoeven
Verhoeven,
tricked
she said Verhoeven tricked her by just saying, oh, there's not going to be a shot of your uncrossed legs, but we need you to take your underwear off because we can see the white in the, you know. And so she did, and they're like, zoom in.
yeah, it's in the movie now.
Yeah.
I still can't see anything. I
know, it's very difficult to see. Yeah. And I've looked. I have looked. But obviously she was aware of the sex scenes in Sliver, but she has said that she was pressured by the producers of the film to have actual sex with Billy Baldwin.
What?
On camera, but like beforehand
to get their chemistry better.
Yeah.
Type of thing, which that's disgusting.
Yeah. So she's come out this week and said, this is the kind of dirty stuff that happened in Hollywood, at least back then. But then Billy Baldwin came out the next day and said, I think more like she wanted to fuck me and I said no, and then she was a little annoyed.
Right.
Oh, God, Billy. No.
That's right.
Yeah.
So he's thinking
even on some fucking planet that's true. You don't say that.
Oh yeah. All you have to do is not say a goddamn word.
Yeah.
This is a lady
in
talking
his
about
mind,
her rights as a
Yeah.
In his mind, she wanted to have sex with him. He said no. So she went to the producers and went, I want to have sex with him. Can you set this up for me? That's how it worked in his head.
That's how Hollywood works, Luke.
I didn't even think that far into it. But I guess that's what he's implying. Or he's saying that 25 to 30 years later, she's still so embittered that she didn't get to sleep with him that she has somehow remembered it wrong and is still complaining about.
He called the reporter and he said, she's outside my fucking front door right now begging.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to go get the hose.
Come here now. Come here. Oh, no, you missed it. You just missed her.
Yeah, she
Because the thing
just
is,
slinked off through the
unfortunately,
bushes.
It's an
Just
easy
slithered
story
off
to
through the bushes.
believe is true that the producers would do something like this.
Yeah.
And this is why we need intimacy coaches now on sets.
Yes. Unfortunately, this is very believable.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, look, I can't think of anything worse than like trying to perform a sex scene while somebody was filming. You both just take a drink when I said that. Gonna moisten my mouth, Danny.
I did see this great interview with Henry Cavill, because there's a whole big thing about how is Henry Cavill just so fucking awesome?
Yeah.
And it was an interview with him talking about sex scenes in TV shows and movies. And he was like,
but mostly TV shows, if it's Henry Cavill.
Well, he was like, well, I mean, they're fine and all, but sometimes don't you just think, why are we watching this? Like, what purpose does this serve, the film? And he said, so I just tend to think, I don't mind them at all, but when I'm presented with one, I often ask the question, why is that in there?
Yeah. I must admit, I do think that as well. And I've made many films with sex scenes in them. Pretty much all my films have had some kind of sex scene.
Yeah, I know.
As you both well know.
We're going to have a cheeky clip for the listeners again.
Certainly more gay than straight.
But no, it is right. Like, it's not progressing the story really to actually
Almost
show
never.
the scene.
Almost never.
Yeah.
When
especially in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. And they had a lot of sex in those movies. Like, just regular movies. For kids would just have a sex scene. Sure. Family movies.
Were they for kids, or were they just movies we watched as kids?
Well, yeah, I mean, the rating season was very iffy back then, especially with like home video. I'm like, Dad, what does AO stand for? And he's
Especially
like,
my home videos. I'd send them in and they'd be like, it's too much sex in this.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, when we made The Tail Job, the most recent feature film, we said, like, we've got to put sex scenes and nudity in this so that people know it's a real movie.
Yeah.
Like,
that's how it works.
So we can put it in the trailer.
So
I only get nude if it works with the scene.
Nude is different too, because I think, like, I would agree, and I've got nothing against sex, watching sex, and, I quite often go out of my way to watch sex scenes of various kinds, but quite often I do see it and I think,
why is this?
Has this girl told her dad she's in this movie? Like, do you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, and also, like, why does that need to be there?
Well, I mean,
then you finish watching
and then I finish myself off. And
in horror movies, for example, it's a cliche now,
a trope,
but it literally, at the time, it was supposed to be, titillating, because you've got death and sex, and like that was, it was intentional. Like why does it need to be there? That's why it's there. Because then the kids are like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the one that comes immediately to
it.
mind that doesn't need to be in there is The Evil Dead, which is one of my favorite movies. Where he's like, she gets attacked by a tree. Okay, great. Yep.
Oh, sure.
And it fucks her.
Yeah,
what?
That was a bit weird.
Do we need that, or we need that?
Yeah, that was an odd choice.
Yeah.
It's quite explicit.
Very explicit.
It's not left.
People love it though. People love it. The first time I ever watched that movie, I was watching it with someone who, just before it happened, yelled at the screen, "Up the clacker!"
All right.
You both know who this person is.
Righto. We've got some follow-up from last week. It's not technically follow-up. I just put it in here as a bit of a joke. But we did say that in the next Jurassic Park film, we think someone's going to fuck a dinosaur.
We've thrown our hat in the ring, yeah.
And they've announced now that Scarlett Johansson's up for the lead role. So obviously, I think we thought it was going to be Chris Pratt. Maybe it's not.
Because I think if Chris Pratt fucked Scarlett Johansson, it wouldn't make a dinosaur baby. I'm no scientist. I'm no John Hammond.
You never know. You never know. Maybe he has amber balls or something with mosquitoes in there. I don't know. Also not a scientist.
No. I mean, for starters, you're just describing this week's thumbnail, so thank you. Because now I don't have to put a lot of thought into it.
The title of it is obviously Amber Balls.
Amber Balls, yeah. Yeah. Nothing to do with Amber Heard.
No.
Yeah, I like this. Here's the title. Scarlett Johansson reportedly offered lead in next Jurassic World movie. Unclear if she'll be the voice of a velociraptor.
Yes.
It does say lead, yeah.
I was confused by that first, but I think that's because she's in some Transformers animated thing. I think that's why they made that joke. I was confused.
Or maybe they're just saying that the
why they
Velociraptors
made
are
that
the
joke.
leads.
Well, this
yeah.
could mean that Chris Pratt still does fuck her. If she's the voice of Velociraptor, he just has sex with the Velociraptor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Ladies
right.
and gentlemen, this week's in-depth film criticism is brought to you by Jurassic World. It could mean that Chris Pratt still fucks her.
I'm just going to put this out there. Luke is right more often than not
Yes,
when it comes to
he
these things. Even if this film isn't that, in a few years there will be a film that is that.
Yes.
That's just what happens.
Yeah.
I'd watch
So
it.
yeah.
Oh, after Jurassic Park came out, there were a lot of, Jurassic Park adjacent rip-off films that
Yes.
came out. So I assume that still happens. I didn't realize until this week how many Dune rip-offs there are, and I'm talking recent Dune rip-offs because I watched Dune 2 this week, by the way, which I didn't put in here, but we can discuss. But in the leading up to it, I decided to watch Dune 1 again, and I use to watch things these days. I use a little website that essentially just kind of filters through all streaming platforms and finds things for me to watch.
It's called the Pirate Bay.
Yes, yeah, it's if the Pirate Bay had thumbnails, that's what it is basically. And I do subscribe to all of these. I literally just do it to save myself time. Not money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
saves
use
time.
one like that too. I think
But
just watch I've used before, but
Sure,
I don't
yeah.
want to endorse any particular service.
yeah, I'm not
'cause
endorsing. I'm not even going to say the name of it.
All right.
But I did that. But when I typed in Dune, there were an awful lot of Dune movies from 2020 onwards.
And how many of them did you watch?
Well, I only watched one, Dune, but I bookmarked some because actually I wouldn't mind doing a little catalogue of Dune ripoffs and just seeing.
Yeah, right.
Because I don't know, I think the Dune mythos is something that you could explore.
Sometimes rip-offs
Horizontally.
aren't entirely bad.
There were some pretty good Star Wars ripoffs in the late 70s, early 80s, so I'm going to say that.
50 Shades of Grey was a Twilight ripoff.
That's true. It was a fanfic, if I
That's
recall.
right. It was.
Was it a
Fucking hell.
poorly written fanfic?
I couldn't
spelling
get
errors
through
and
it.
stuff.
So
The only passage I've ever even heard read from
50 Shades of
50
Grey.
Shades was when Mabim Bam read out a passage to show us why you should not read it.
I tried to read it and I stopped because I was like, life's too short for this.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not
life's
for
not
me.
too short for Dune Part 2 because it was excellent.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you
It
liked
was as good as Dune 1, maybe better. Hard to say because they're both good and they're just two halves of one movie.
Agreed.
There was only one thing I didn't like about it, and it wasn't that I didn't like about it, but I have one criticism, and that's that Austin Butler is so good as Fahad Rautha that
Yeah, he should have been in it more.
he has so much screen presence that I was like, you sure this Timothée Chalamet guy's the Messiah? Because
Yeah.
my money's on this hulk of a man.
Yeah.
Like he fucking has cannibal groupies. I don't remember that from the book.
No.
But that was a nice touch. Fuck me, is that guy next level. He is next level. And
Yeah. Good performance.
incredibly intense performance. I'd seen him in Elvis and thought he was absolutely fine, but in this, he was captivating.
Because he's actually not in it that much, even.
No, and he doesn't come into it for a good fucking hour
Yeah.
at least.
But then when he's in it, you're like, fuck, that guy's terrifying.
yeah.
was really
Fire
fine.
Dave Bautista.
You think he was only fine in Elvis because Elvis was just a
Elvis
movie?
was fine.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, and also it was so overhyped. Like it was the most overhyped movie and performance I think I've ever.
I don't think Elvis ever set fire
experience.
to anybody, so kind of less.
Yeah.
less
As far as I
intense.
know, Elvis didn't feed prisoners of war to his girlfriends.
Yeah.
Although I don't want to
You never
speculate.
know. You never know.
he was in the army.
He was in the army. Yeah, he was.
What'd you think of? There were some changes. I feel like they didn't really matter that much, but there's a certain character who was not in it. Basically,
Yes.
she was in it, but then she. I don't know if we want to.
Little winky to wink.
Yes.
And no one's names were said. So if you
Yeah,
hadn't read
right?
the book, you wouldn't know who Irulan was. You wouldn't know who half a dozen characters
Because I know I said
were.
that last week, and I was like, maybe they did, and I missed it. They don't, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, they do not. They do not.
She's there. But I don't say her
okay.
name.
So the day after I saw it, I was suffering from Dune fever, and so I went back and I put on the 1984 David Lynch / Alan Smithy Dune, and I learned more about the storyline in the opening monologue of that than I did in the 6 hours of Denis Villeneuve's movie, because telling you what Dune's about is clearly not a priority for him.
Yeah.
He just wants to show you the cool awesomeness of it. But
I don't think they ever say the word mentat or...
they don't say a lot of stuff. And in fact, at the very, very end of Dune Part 2, so we're a good 5 hours into the
story.
The story at this point, somebody goes, the Fremen used to call this place Dune. And I imagine Peter Griffin going, he said the name. He said the name.
He said the thing. Yeah. Do you think Stilgar's funny, right? You saw what I meant by that?
Fucking hilarious.
Good, right?
I'm not the Messiah. He's so humble. He doesn't even admit to being the Messiah.
Please don't fuck this up. You'll embarrass me.
Yeah. It's like, Stilgar's not from here? You didn't hear his accent?
Yeah, that's right. No, he's from South.
Sorry, if we go down to the South, everyone's Spanish. I'll say this, though. They skimmed over a lot of very in-depth lore, only to spend a lot of time on some stuff that I was like, okay, all right, we get it. Move on.
They really focused in on the Messiah thing and try to make it clear that it's not clear.
Yes,
right.
And they did that very well, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, the fact that most people don't think he's the Messiah, and there's some machinations pulling the strings, including his mum, who just wants people to believe it.
Yeah.
Every time you say like he's not the Messiah, I just go, he's a very naughty boy.
He is a very naughty boy.
There's a lot of that, because in that same thing, when in Life of Brian, there's the exact scene where they're like, only the Messiah would deny being the Messiah. And he's like, fine, I am the Messiah. And they're like, you heard him. He is the Messiah.
Yeah. I got to say, that fucking scene where he gets up and he's like, I am the Kuzat's Haderach. I fucking goosebumps. I was like, this is
I know,
sick.
man.
This
That
is
was
sick.
so
And then Chani's
good.
there shaking her head like, you fucking idiot.
She was played
so well done.
And that character is minimized in every other incarnation of this story that I've seen. But she plays, and I don't know whether just Zendaya is a great actress or because Denis Villeneuve knows how to write for women. But
totally.
Or both. But that bit where she was like, I can't believe you're saying this. And then in the next scene where he's like, also, I'm going to get married to someone. And she's like, you're fucking kidding me, right?
Are you fucking serious? Yeah.
Yeah, your dick was in me half an hour ago.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so... Because, I mean, that's how it is in the book, too. Like, it fucking blindsides you when you read the book, too, because he's like, I'm going to marry the princess. And you're like, he's going to do what?
Yeah. And in fact, they kind of foreshadowed this in the film. He even mentions it, I think, to his mum at some point early on, or she says to him, you're going to need a strategic alliance, not just some
because in the book, it comes out of nowhere, I think.
What I love about the religious angle, like they've basically said, like, this is religion in space.
Yeah.
Boom. Like, we're stripping every
how
other aspect, all the other politics out of it. But they don't even just when you think they're leaning into one specific religion that this is mimicking, they throw something else at you and you go, oh wait, this is like they're praying. And they're doing it on their knees with their heads on the ground. So you're like, oh, okay, well, this is Islam.
Yeah.
But then they're all like clustered around. You're like, well, no. This is like biblical Hebrewism. Yeah. Like it's Christianity and all of those things.
All these different factions who believe various different things about what isn't going on, and it's all good. And it's all horse shit. Like
they're all as valid as each other.
Or is it?
Yeah.
Like it's
what
very
they
good.
What they haven't done, as far as I can tell, is really explain why the spice is so important. I know they say we use it for space travel, but they don't explain, well, how they got to that planet in the first place without it and then discovered it and why it is so quintessential to their
That's one of the things that
society.
they kind of just left. Like,
and they also don't really lean into explaining its effect on Paul, because we always see Paul having visions.
Yes.
And they don't really get more profound after he encounters the spice. They do get more profound when he has the worm,
The juice.
Yeah. But they also don't really... yeah. You heard
Are
me.
we enticing you to watch this movie, Luke?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's one thing I have to say is that the way that all played out is very different to how, in my head, that works based on the book. And when I saw in the movie, I was like, oh,
okay,
that's actually quite simple.
Yes.
Because in my head, it's fucking not simple.
Correct.
Like,
I was the same. Yeah.
Like the whole way that they... I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a certain thing you have to do to get this to a worm to get this elixir, and like I don't know whether it's like,
okay. You can say you have to jerk off the worm. We all know.
But I just wasn't sure. Is it written in a way that is complicated, or have I just spent
I think the brilliance of Denis Villeneuve is that he simplifies every complex issue in the book.
Yeah,
you know.
Sure.
So I don't remember exactly how he describes it, but I know that because I remember like the way he describes the ornithopters, for example, which are these helicopters, but instead of having a rotating blade, they've got flappy insect wings. Mm-hmm. And in a book, you can describe that, and you can be like, cool insect-like sci-fi things. But you're like, if I'm going to build that, that's going to be fucking stupid looking. Mm-hmm. Whereas in this,
it looks sick.
They're pretty sick. Yeah. Like. Because they don't go into it. You don't see them start flapping and then it starts taking... Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's they've taken that out of it, and I think it works
distilled it down to its essence. Yeah.
Did you think that the Emperor's ship looked a lot like the Death Star?
Sure. I think it is described that way in the book, though.
But possibly. But I also thought it might have been saying, fucking sue me, Star Wars. From stealing from you.
So the other thing, this is slight spoilers, I guess. The shields, that doesn't come up. The issue with shields and guns and stuff, like the interactions of those devices and the explosions and that kind of stuff. None of that in this, and then also the nukes.
That's true.
Skimmed over quite a bit too. Like it is an important plot point, but they never really. Not on the
say
level
why that's important. That is true, yeah.
And they don't go into it because I believe in the book, the nukes are aimed at the other houses and stuff too, and it's quite a bit of a standoff that's just not really doesn't come up.
Yeah, and in fact, there almost is an off-camera standoff that we're just told about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that whole end sequence, I was like, how are they going to do that? It's so complicated. And then, like I said the other week, the secret
they just skim over it.
Just
don't
show
worry
too much.
Just know that Paul made such a big threat. Everyone said, "We'll do what you want, mate."
Yeah.
But the things with the shields and how the reason that shields are bulletproof but not knife proof is because they can only stop fast moving objects but not slow moving objects, which is why they do knife fights and just make it awesome. And even though the fight looked bloody stupid in the old 80s movie, they actually did a better job explaining why that was necessary.
Sure. Yeah, they do show the slow movements, but they don't really explain it explicitly.
They don't explain that that's why it is. Luke, your favorite scene in the book, your scene of...
only scene from the book.
The only scene in the book.
Walked in on.
The one page you found in a tree stump.
That's right, yeah. Pays off in this second movie too, because he recognizes his footsteps, which was a nice... And I don't remember that callback being in the book. Maybe it was there and I missed it, or maybe that was just a screenwriter's...
Sure, it's very good, though.
But I also, in the Lynch version, it's not just him, it's him and all his friends. Literally 4 people walk into the room. He's like, I can hear all 4 of you coming in.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't have time for individual storylines. Let's just put fucking Gurney and Duncan and the Doctor just all walking in.
But unless I'm mixing this up with another book, in the book, isn't there an issue where if you shoot a shielded person with a laser gun, everything just fucking explodes?
Yeah, they don't even talk about lasers in this at all,
that's what I'm saying.
Do they?
Yeah. No. I swear that's in Dune.
Because he thought about everything. Like, if there's how anything works, he thought about it. And if you go, well, why don't they just do this? There's a reason, and he's thought it up.
I can understand why they wouldn't put that in the movie, though. I don't think it would add anything.
No,
But
it does.
the shields are there. They just don't explain why the shields
and there
are
are
there
scenarios
and why you need to...
There are scenarios in the book where it's relevant, but he just adjusted things, and now it's no longer relevant.
No, I
so
think
doesn't
all
matter.
said and done, he did probably the best that anyone could be expected to do with a very heavy storyline to make
and like
it
I said last
palatable.
week, it's fucking weird. It's super weird. Like
Super weird, yeah.
Yeah. No, it did really
But
well.
also, like, he didn't shy away from the weirdness, like the costumes and stuff, like the fucking big visors and things with no facial expressions and no eyebrows for the Harkonnens and all of that stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, it's not a glossy kind of pop movie, but I mean, it's very popular.
Go see it, Luke. I have to see
Yeah.
the first one.
I gotta see the first one. Also,
No, I told you, just watch to the halfway point of David Lynch's movie and then go and watch the end of this.
Yeah. Just until he meets the Fremen, and then you can go watch this instead.
Okay. I might do it one day. Not
You'll be
today.
like, Chani got a lot younger. That's weird. Or it. See, now I'm like, was Sean
people just
younger, or
looked
was it just
older.
because?
Yeah,
because I saw it when I was
Carl
a kid,
McLaughlin in my head was older too, but I think he was only about 18 when he played.
and I saw
that
it when I
film.
was a kid. So
she was an adult.
It's like how I see Luke Skywalker was older than me.
Yes,
But when I look at it now, he just
boy.
looks the same. Like
Yeah.
I think Alec Guinness is about our age, wasn't he? People just did look older. Anyway, speaking of Star Wars, we've got some Star Wars follow-up.
Yes.
Gina Carano is in the news.
Yeah. Well, I hope she's saying something controversial, because that's what I like about her.
I think she's dialed that back a bit. I think she's realized that's not the path to anything good. So she's done this interview this week, and basically she's said she was really upset that Disney, said horrible things about her. And
Did they?
she says, this is a quote, "I just laid down and cried and cried. I curled into a fetal position. It's not like I didn't think something like that could happen. It was that I couldn't imagine they would put out this horrendous statement about me after working with me, the most powerful entertainment company in the world, saying that about me."
Didn't they just basically say we don't agree with her views?
They said her tweets were abhorrent or something. Abhorrent and unacceptable. That's actually exactly what they said. And she was very upset by that. But
I think that's
they
I
were.
think
So
they let her off easy. Yeah.
they can't afford to have that going on. And and also she in the interview she goes on to say that people told her, like Pedro Pascal, who as you know, his sister is trans, and they had a conversation about it because she was saying people think I'm transphobic or whatever. And apparently she says in this interview, Pedro Pascal told her, just put hashtag trans rights in your Twitter bio and they'll fucking stop. Like, what's the problem? Just do it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not, don't worry about it. But she said,
yeah.
it's just not how I go. Because
I forgot.
Why?
I remember the thing she said about the Nazis, but I forget what she said about trans people.
I don't even know. I'm not even. Yeah.
I mean, what did the most masculine woman on television say about trans people, Matt? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like maybe the whole, stand your ground thing didn't work. So now she's trying to go for the sympathy or something like that.
Oh, it was a pronoun controversy.
Oh, okay. Oh, the beep boop thing. Yeah. She thought it'd be funny because she.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. She said, I remember that. Whatever. Anyway. This
Beep,
is
boop. Seriously, this will be the start of the end for me. Okay.
We'll continue on with Star Wars news. I think this one's a little bit sadder.
all right. Sadder
Jake
than Gina
Lloyd.
Carano getting cancelled.
Jake Lloyd.
He got a kind of cancelled,
What's wrong with Jake Lloyd now?
He's
Well,
not
he's just
doing
been
good.
in a mental health facility for the last 10 months.
Oh no.
Yeah. Apparently he was driving along the freeway and then just stopped the car and started screaming, and his mum was like, I think we need to put you in hospital.
Shit.
Like, was talking to the police and was just like word salad, just making. And he was diagnosed as schizophrenic in 2008.
he didn't tell us he was hearing voices, but he was. Fucking hell.
The voice was just saying, faster and more intense.
But you got to remember, this is a
Use
kid.
the force, Jake.
This was a guy who was basically, as a kid, was told to kill himself by a lot of people.
Yeah, that's rough. I mean, I don't think that can cause schizophrenia, but it's
but
obviously not going to help.
Didn't
But I
help.
think, can schizophrenia be unlocked, like by trauma?
I think they used to say it can be unlocked by weed and stuff like that. I don't know if that's true. Probably not. They used to say a lot of stuff.
Don't know. I do know that he was in a not very good movie called The Phantom Menace, and he was not very good in it. But I can
No, you were going to
hardly
name
blame...
another one he was in.
No, I'm just going to say, was he in another movie? I can hardly blame
he
any
was.
of that on him. He is a fucking 9-year-old kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
No 9-year-old kids are good actors. I've
There
never
was
seen one.
I don't know if it's because of this. I didn't see this news article, but there was on I think on Twitter there was a letter circulating. It was a letter that Ron Howard wrote to some journalist that basically was like, "How fucking dare you name and shame and call out a 9-year-old boy who was in a movie that you thought wasn't very good, like and criticizes a child? Like, the fuck is wrong with you?" It was like this whole letter he wrote, and I was like, "Good stuff."
Take that. I'll say this though. Did you watch the behind the scenes? I know you did. I know you both did. The behind the scenes on the DVD of Phantom Menace.
Never heard of it.
They show the 3 finalists for
Yes.
that. For that.
Of course, I've seen it. Yeah.
yeah.
I think I watched it before the movie came out because I was desperate
I
to
definitely
see it.
did as well.
It was on
yeah.
TV.
And one of them was Jake Lloyd. Obviously, he got the part.
Yeah.
But there were 2 other dudes who, and one of them was fucking excellent. Like, one of them had this fucking evil behind his eyes, like you would imagine a child Darth Vader would have. And I remember thinking, like, give it to him. Like, I know it's not a good movie, but like.
But remember, at that time, George didn't want to have that evil there.
Yeah.
He wanted someone who's
And
very
that makes
innocent,
sense.
became
Yeah,
corrupt.
that makes sense. Yeah.
You know, I know Jake Lloyd was in something else.
He was.
I thought you were going to say,
Jingle All the
I
Way.
know Jake Lloyd.
No. I know he was in something else. I think
was in
before Star Wars. he was in
Jingle
something.
All the Way.
That's what it was.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's Jake Lloyd?
Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
I wonder if he was better in that than he was in Star Wars, just because it had a better director.
It's a good movie.
Interested to see.
Wait, who directed Jingle All the Way? Why do I know?
No, I don't know. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Oh,
it
this is not
couldn't
George.
possibly be worse. Yeah.
Someone named Brian Levant.
Probably one of those career directors who's directed a million things.
It came out
The
3
The
years
Spy
before
Next
The
Door.
Phantom Menace.
Starring Jackie Chan.
Oh, okay. No.
But yeah, it's sort of sad. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's it.
Jake, I know.
Yeah.
Between him and Ahmed Best, I mean, I hope they're friends. You know what I mean? Like, I
Ahmed
hope
Best
they
is
cry
good.
on each
No.
other's
Ahmed Best
shoulders.
is all good. He's got his own show now, apparently.
Oh, yes, that's always a reality show, right?
No,
Like How
I
to Be
think
a
I think
Jedi?
he's like the lead character in a new fucking Star Wars show.
Shit.
I
They've
haven't
come
watched
good.
it.
They've done good by
I
him.
haven't watched it, but Luke probably has. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Ahmed Best plays a Jedi in Mandalorian
Obi-Wan.
season 3. No,
I
I've
thought
seen
he was in
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
Or
No,
is
he-
it Ahsoka?
Might be Ahsoka. Anyway, he's apparently
People
leading
are
some fucking show of his own
yelling
now.
at their...
Yeah, I know. Ahmed Best.
Pretty sure it was Obi-Wan.
I've seen Obi-Wan. Unfortunately.
I even
okay.
watched a... I even
Star
watched
Wars
a
Jedi Temple Challenge is a game show. that he
Mandalorian.
hosts.
one episode.
Yeah, Mando season
Oh, was
3. I think it was.
Mandalorian then? Okay. I don't know. They all sort of have merged together in my head a little bit, even though I know they are different.
So no, he's got a redemption now. I mean, not that he did anything wrong either. Let's be fair. He just did what he was told as well.
He's also in a movie called Career Suicide, which I think is
God.
funny. And apt.
But remember he had his YouTube channel a while back?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
And-
he's
and I was like,
great.
Yeah. I really felt
I mean,
bad
I've-
because we
I've
obviously...
seen him at cons do talks. I mean, not in person, just stuff I've caught up with online, and he seems very, very funny.
Yeah.
And
Again, it's not his fault.
it
No.
definitely wasn't his fault.
He didn't write or direct it.
I find The Mandalorian, it's just went from one of my favorite shows to something I had no interest in so quickly.
I'm not interested in any of them anymore. Literally, couldn't have imagined 10 years ago I'd be someone who's like, no, I won't. I'm not going to watch a Star Wars
I'm just
thing.
not going to watch them.
Yeah, now I'm
because
but now
even
I'm
through
just
the
not interested.
prequels, we were like, these are garbage, but let's still eat them. Let's still eat them for breakfast.
Yeah.
But now, and there's just so much now. I saw a little web comic the other day that was like a father with his son on the couch, and he turns it off. He goes, and there you go, son. That was the Star Wars trilogy. And his son's like, is there any more Star Wars stuff after this? He's like,
nope.
No.
There is not.
Look, we do get Andor season 2 soon, though.
Yes. Thank God they finished filming it, and we did.
Yeah. I get a feeling that if they hadn't already filmed that, that would have just been chucked in the
Yeah.
I don't understand
I was
why.
worried they
That's
still
the
would have
best
chucked it,
stuff.
Luke, you may be getting your Rogue Squadron again.
Yes.
I might be.
Yes.
Patty Jenkins is
It
back.
is being spoken about again
Excellent.
by Patty Jenkins.
Look, I think they should let me do it. I could do it well. And it needs to stop being a movie. It's a television series.
Well, I mean, they're leaning into a lot of these television series, and I don't.
Yeah, they might be up for that.
Other than Andor and the first season of Mandalorian, I don't think we've seen any evidence that the series are better than the movies.
Put me
Although
in
they
charge.
are talking about it. There's so much episode 10 talk recently.
There's
Is
the
there?
thing of the Daisy Ridley movie they're talking about. Is that going to be episode 10 or is it just going to be something else?
Well, I don't know if they're going to call it episode 10, but it's going to be fucking
Yeah.
the next part of... It's going to be the sequel to episode 9.
I saw a video that was a deep faked Luke Skywalker talking about how I had this crazy dream that there was this girl who like my whole family died and she just stole the farm and took on our name and
Yeah.
Yes. There's
I
one more
reckon
piece
at
of
the end of
follow-up.
that movie, she should have claimed the name Palpatine.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ray
Kind of sounds a bit
Palpatine.
Italian, doesn't it?
Palpatine?
Palpatino.
Palpatine.
But it makes more
Yeah.
sense that she go Palpatine than Skywalker, the guy that
Well,
she
because
met
she's
for
not a
3
Skywalker?
weeks,
Yeah.
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 No, that was tacked on for
and
Fan
kissed
service.
his nephew.
kissed his
That was
nephew.
awful.
Yeah, he kissed
Oh, that's
Ray
right.
and
I forgot about
Kylo.
that. Yeah.
Because the funny thing is, like, they set up from the start that, like, Finn and Ray were going to be, like, the potential couple, and then they just went
Yeah.
nowhere with
Because
it.
I think China said no.
Yeah.
We don't like that.
Can't kiss one of them.
Yeah. China, no good.
And then Oscar Isaacs and John Boyega joked that they just pretend that
That would've
their
been good.
characters are in a gay relationship. Again, China was like, you better not fucking show that in the movie.
Yeah.
And they went, don't worry, we won't show that in the movie. And they were like, well, you better
No, seriously,
prove
don't
in
put
this
that
third
the movie.
one that if she's going to kiss anyone, it'll be a man and it'll be a white man. And they went, fine.
Yeah, that kiss made no sense at all.
No,
It was disgusting.
it was unearned.
It was as unearned as when you retrospectively watch The Empire Strikes Back after you know that Luke and Leia are brother and sister.
Look, the thing that just annoys me about those,
Well, she was
those
trying to make
sequels
Han
is
jealous.
Star Wars. The original
By
Star-
kissing, you want to make a girl jealous, you're going to start macking on with Charlotte, are you? Is that that's perfectly acceptable
she
to you?
didn't
Is it, Matt?
know. She didn't know.
the original Star Wars
Somehow she always knew.
takes place of like over a decade. The prequels take place over a decade. The sequels take place about 2 years?
A
Like
long
the first
weekend.
2 movies are back to back,
Mm.
and the third one's
Yes.
very close to like, hey,
Yeah, that's true.
we're gonna call everyone. No one rocked up, and then it's just they're just all very condensed. It's one little story, not some opera that the others were, where stuff
Yeah.
happened in between.
Anyway, good thing we've got those 3 Star Wars movies to watch. We've got one more piece of
A
follow-up.
good thing we can
I wanna
always
get
just
to.
watch those unaltered originals on. Oh no, wait.
There's one more piece of follow-up I want to mention just because I thought it was very funny. And it's not a whole lot to it. But Andrew Tate has been arrested again in Romania because some streamer friend of his, Aiden Ross, was on like Kick streaming and said, oh, by the way, I'm probably going to be doing some streams with Andrew Tate soon. And he got his phone and he texted me and he said, going to be leaving Romania soon, won't be coming back. It's going to have to be now or never. The Romanian authorities were like, really?
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
not
interesting.
That's illegal. And so they just, arrested him.
Wow.
You know the
funny.
thing that drives me crazy about Andrew Tate and that that kick streamer Aiden Ross and stuff? People like them.
I know.
Yeah.
People watch their content and think they are awesome and great, even though they are terrible human beings.
Yeah. I mean, look, they are living the lifestyle. So from a certain perspective, if you want to be a cock like them, maybe you could get ahead. But I mean, he's also gotten arrested. So maybe don't, enslave women or whatever he was doing. Allegedly.
Yeah. Or if you're going to enslave them for yourself, like for your own personal use, but don't traffic them.
I think, to be clear, isn't he accused of, coercing them into doing good stuff?
Yeah, basically, he has a place where he gets women to basically go on streaming sites, and he takes the money, and that's
fucking hell.
Wait, that's a job?
Yes.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of my career advisor.
Yeah. Cool. You're like, I know women.
And then I think there's a very fine line between the whole.
It's not that fine.
They're doing it with.
Could you be more specific about where the line is, Luke?
And what the URL is?
Yeah.
It is. I think there's a very fine line between just organizing it and getting women to do it to forcing women to do it.
Sure. Yes.
I think if you're trying to convince a woman to do it, even without any force, unless she's come up to you and said, "Excuse me, sir, can you help me get on the internet?" Like, I don't think.
Excuse me, sir, could you help me get on?
I guarantee you, there's probably a business behind that with people who helped me build my career and get out there.
Yeah.
I don't have the setup. Can you, how do I get started?
Sure.
Here, I'll give you this room. Away you go.
But look, it's biased, I'm sure, but did you guys watch that documentary, Hot Girls Wanted?
Yes.
No.
It's about this dude. He has this house in, I think, is it in California somewhere, or is it in Florida? Yeah.
Florida.
Because anything goes in Florida now, right?
Southeast or southwest, one of the two.
Yeah. And basically, if you're a girl and you're living somewhere in middle America and you want to become an internet porn star, then you can go to him and
he'll fly you out there, set you up in the house,
give you a room and introduce you to all the people you know, and you can just live this weird, horrible, disgusting life. Not because of the sex work per se, but just because of the dodginess of just the whole thing.
Yeah,
it was just the whole thing.
Yeah, it
was gross.
But yeah, he just puts an ad in the papers going "Hot Girls Wanted." Call this number, and then he will fly. You call. He'll. It's not like he hides what it is.
Right.
He'll explain,
and he is very open as well. Like, okay, so there's this thing. Maybe you guys knew about this, but I did not know about this, right? So a lot of the girls, their biggest complaint for the jobs that he sends them on, they're like, like we knew we'd be sucking dicks, obviously. But what's with the sucking dicks until we vomit? And he's like, that's just what people like now. And apparently, that's what you got to do if you want to be a porn star. Now, you just got to suck dicks until you vomit. I can, I don't want to kink shame anyone, but I can honestly say I've never even considered that might be sexy.
Yeah, one of those sites that they talk about
is
really really disgusting, where they basically just abuse people.
Yeah.
That's.
But evidently, that's your bread and butter if you're going to be one of those girls. You don't... You I'm trying to think of a classy porno. All I can think of is Debbie Does Dallas from the fucking 70s. But it's not tasteful erotica, is it?
No, and even in the thing you sort of saw throughout that sort of documentary, it sort of the girls start off doing sort of normal jobs, and then just they're new and fresh, so people are loving them. They're getting more jobs, and then we've seen this face before, so they have to start going to more bondage and abuse sort of stuff to get the work, and then they're sort of you're finished now.
Who's looking at the face?
You do get your stars in it, but a lot of the people you see, they'll come in, do half a dozen scenes, and then you'll never see them again.
Yeah,
and not because they retired gracefully.
No, because that's in that. I mean, you were talking about older ones. I imagine the industry now, you've got to produce content constantly, right? Same with every other industry. It's just how it is now. Whereas I guess back in like the 70s and 80s, you could make. I mean,
there used to be a story.
When we were kids, we were only able to have one video game and one porno tape.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
And it had to last the whole year.
I only had room in my hiding spot for one VHS porno tape. You know what I mean? Like,
whereas now, you just go on fucking Google and type in.
That's the thing. It's
show
also
me more.
free now. So
Show
I
me
don't know
different
how
stuff.
these people are making any money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
actually.
how
I don't
do
know.
they?
OnlyFans is big. That's, I mean, obviously people pay.
Yes,
for
yeah.
OnlyFans.
That's different. But yeah,
OnlyFans, I guess, in a kind of taking back the power kind of way is good for.
assuming
for
there's
sex
no
workers, right?
none of this
Assuming
exploitation
it's
like
their
we've
choice and not
discussed.
Andrew Tate
Yeah.
being the one.
It's all
in fact,
Andrew Tate.
actually, to be honest, the argument, the biggest argument I've seen is that people on OnlyFans are exploiting other people because it creates this fake. What do they call that?
Oh yeah,
The parasocial relationship where people are giving you money because they think, well,
you're into it.
he or she
You're
will
flirting
fuck
with
me.
me.
Yeah, they think it's real, and then there's this argument about do people know or do they not know? Like,
Yes, because if people do know, they certainly pretend they don't know.
yeah, but I guess
At the very
that's what
least.
they're paying for, I suppose. Right? That was the argument, was that
That's the upside. Is
Like,
that
they're not going to, because I remember I saw a debate on I think it was on Destiny's channel once where they were talking about it, and then they had a girl on there saying that like if I went on there and every fucking time I message somebody I go, by the way, this isn't real, I'm not going to have sex with you. They're not going to pay
They
for
wouldn't
that.
make any money.
Yeah, exactly. That's not what people
And
want.
the thing is, they're actually paying
Like,
to get.
I want to fuck you,
custom content
asterisk.
and-
I do not want to fuck you.
Yeah.
custom
Because-
content, getting responses. They're paying
Yes,
to
because
be able to
if all they
actually have
wanted was
interaction.
that kind of top-down mass media, there's plenty of that. But what they want is
Personalized experience.
one-on-one. Yeah.
Yes. And if they don't know it's fake, then I guess, is that the girl's fault or boy's fault? Okay, it goes both ways. Not
Yeah.
just women.
Yeah, it does.
You'd have a hard time convincing me that it's the man being exploited there. I think in the in this context, I think
No, but I
this
think-
is probably
No,
the
no,
best.
well, you know,
most-
there are people
I
out
think
there
there is an
who-
argument for that. Like vulnerable
there are-
people who might,
There are vulnerable people who think they have relationships with just people on YouTube
yeah.
who
Yeah.
don't even get a response.
Yeah, I can see how that could be a thing.
I mean, I can see it, but I also think I don't know. And let's.
Like, I'm
and
not
take
convinced that these
responsibility
people
for
are
yourself.
responsible for that. Like,
yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I just think it could happen.
I think this is the most democratized version of this industry you could hope for.
It's almost an inversion of the power dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Right.
especially compared to what you were talking about before, like that guy who was just taking
Yeah.
advantage, and Andrew Tate taking advantage of these women. It's the opposite
Yeah.
of that. It's like, yeah,
But also, I can't help but think, and I know a lot of this is just real people in their real homes. But even when I was working in the media, I worked for this one company. I'm skirting around, trying not to say the name of the company.
Sure.
But they produced fashion YouTube videos,
right,
and they had a studio with a lot of bedroom sets,
right.
and they hired actresses to come in every day and read the script of these very, very real sounding influencer type scenarios that anyone watching would just think it's a girl in their bedroom talking about what makeups she likes.
Sure.
But it's not. It's
an advertisement.
Corporations, advertising paid things. And you wouldn't know. They purposely did it in the same lo-fi style that
make it
somebody
seem
real.
authentic.
You just wouldn't know. And I assume that there's probably some of that happening on OnlyFans as well, because it certainly happens
Everywhere
invisibly on YouTube.
Everywhere else, yeah.
All right, I have some bad news.
What's that?
We need to finish up and get to the after party.
What's the bad news?
I like to finish up in the after party.
Well, I just need to hurry us up because I'm getting picked up to football.
Oh,
in
that's
about
true.
20
All
minutes.
right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
We're just gonna.
All right, well, let's hurry up, everybody. Go to patreon.com/multiple nerdgasm. $5 a month, you get the after party. If you're not sick of us talking yet, that's what you're going to have to do to hear more, because we are going to continue talking. Patreon.com/multiple nerdgasm.
That's all for this week. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the show. If you enjoyed it, then please subscribe in iTunes to receive episodes automatically. We'll see you next time.